just came out of a cast 3 weeks ago from breaking my wrist on a skateboard.
Oh, shit.
I'm way too old for this shit. On the spot, I gave the board away. I was like, dude, this is it. Please get this away from me right now.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys in the boat, they're kind of like destination unknown, travelers, kind of not based on immigration, but people coming from everywhere to end up, this one's New York, but the others are like no destination. Been here for 20 years almost as a visa holder, so it's always something in the back of my mind is like, security of residence and stuff like that. So I know a lot of other people have got a lot worse, but it's just a lingering kind of a thought. You're not from, this is not your place of birth or whatever. That kind of has a bearing on how you live your life and the things that you collect and the decisions you make. I think I've been here long enough now that this is my home, you know what I mean? I got a family here. I got a life here, so you can't deny your past, and all this kind of comes from like skateboarding, from doing graphics, from art direction, and as much as I want to kind of like fine art myself out, it's like this is always going to come back. At the beginning of the year, I started this still life kind of series. I wanted to finish the still lifes and create a body of work with it, so this is kind of that. I mean, if you didn't know, I think you wouldn't know a graffiti writer did them. But I think if you were told, then maybe you're like, oh, okay, I see some things that I can identify as like a writer's shapes. Yeah, a little more graphic, a little more punchy colors, maybe a little more stylistic, I'm not sure. But I think down the road I was like, oh, hang on. I can see the graph element in it. This guy. These were fun to do, some smaller ones. When I first started painting, I thought a big painting was like this big. And I really had trouble like working bigger than that. And now I have trouble working small because the graph again is the ability to work big. It's really something I enjoy, like knocking out the bigger ones. My mum's an artist. She was pretty instrumental in that. She sent me to art classes and dragged me along with her to galleries and stuff like that. I try to do the same for my kid. Like, he doesn't want to go, but I think ultimately he's going to know what art is and hopefully know what good art looks like and has an opinion on it. It's important for me to try to interject some kind of culture, whether he embraces it or not. It's up to him. I never thought I would travel overseas. Definitely not come to New York. So that was really a dream. Paint a train. That was the only, and I knew if I left without doing it, I failed. It was incredible, except for that I never got flicks of it. I think about that all the time too. One I did was in the middle of Manhattan, and I didn't even know where I was because I have no bearings in the city or anything. So we were finished and we came up to the street level, and there was mad people everywhere, like bustling city. That feeling I really remember. It was daytime, came out in the middle of the city. It was just like, oh, we just blended in. It's amazing. I mean, you don't even know these people and you go to another country, stay at their house, see all the cool shit as well. It's the best way to travel. We went straight to the Tats Crew office. I knew Howard knows them. They had been to Australia, and they introduced me and my boy Snarly to Tats Crew, and we've been friends ever since. That was the first place I went. That was the place I went every time I came here. I painted with those guys, and that was it. Painted with Cess on his rooftop. That was dope. Actually, Cess and Serve, and that was like, big time for me coming from Australia. I did a whack piece, of course, but those dudes were super accommodating and like really humble, and those kind of experiences when you haven't traveled much is like, oh, this is dope, Yeah, that's memorable, those kind of things. Totally. Everything was a discovery. Traveling to different areas, different cities, going to look for pieces, trying to go to neighborhoods that you thought there was something, with a camera, and graph kind of gives you an adventure. So I guess that was it. The main thing was the adventure, and I don't know if the adventure's there for me anymore, but I'll probably look at it in a different way. It's always painting trains. It's always going to be that. I always think about it. I'm always going to want to do it again. I never think I've finished doing it. That's it for me. I think if you grew up doing that, then you're always going to want to do another one. The memories of that, like the best times are like waiting on the station for the trains to pull in or not to pull in. I always say that graff doesn't pay, and it never paid me, and if I spent 35 years trying to be a DJ, I'd probably be rich right now, but I think it opened a lot of doors for me. It got me in places where it got me jobs and had people interested in what I was doing. So from that perspective, it's provided for me. But you know what I mean, if you're looking to be rich, I wouldn't be choosing graffiti as a means to do so, you know what I mean?